The sun never sets on Aurelia. It hangs at the zenith, a fixed, blistering point that turns every street and plaza into a furnace of blinding light. The city is a masterpiece of wealth, where every brick, every tile, and every fountain is forged from solid gold. But there is no movement. The air is thick with fine gold powder, suspended in the heat like a glittering fog. Thousands of people fill the streets, yet they are silent. They stand in the middle of their daily tasks, caught in a permanent, metallic paralysis. A fruit vendor leans over his stall, his fingers locked around an apple that has become a heavy, unyielding weight of leaden gold. Further down the path, a mother stands with her arms wrapped tight around her child. They are fused together, a single, cold mass of precious metal. There is no heartbeat here, no breath, only the relentless, searing refraction of dead light bouncing off surfaces that should be valuable. The silence is absolute, heavy enough to crush the spirit, broken only by the shimmering of heat waves rising from the golden pavement. A sound cut through the oppressive stillness. Clank, clank, clank. It was a heavy, rhythmic pulse, the sound of iron striking gold. A figure emerged from the haze of dust, moving with a deliberate, grinding gait. He did not look at the frozen citizens lining the path. He did not acknowledge the fruit vendor or the mother fused in her final embrace. His focus was fixed entirely on the palace gates looming ahead. The material he carried was dark, raw, and unrefined, a stark anomaly in this world of polished perfection. As he walked, his shadow stretched long and jagged across the golden pavement, a dark, bleeding scar upon the city's artificial brilliance. Every step he took left a faint, dull mark on the pristine ground, a reminder that something real and decaying had entered this tomb of static wealth. He ignored the pleading, sightless faces that seemed to track his progress. The air grew hotter as he approached the palace, but he did not slow. He reached the base of the massive gates and stopped. The silence rushed back in, but it was different now. He stood before the threshold, a singular point of resistance in a kingdom of gold. The ground at the palace gates began to boil. It bubbled and hissed, turning from solid gold into a churning, liquid mass. A colossal lion surged upward, its body composed of flowing, molten heat. It had no fur, only burning, viscous gold that dripped onto the floor, melting the stone beneath it. Its eyes were twin rubies, glowing with a predatory, intense light. The beast lunged. The knight stood his ground, drawing his heavy blade. The impact of the collision rang out like a hammer on an anvil, sending sparks of pure energy flying across the plaza. The heat was immense, searing the air, but the knight did not retreat. He swung his sword with the force of a falling mountain. The blade bit deep, severing the lion's front leg. Golden liquid sprayed like blood. For from the wound, hissing as it hit the ground, the beast roared, a sound of grinding metal, and lunged again. The knight braced, pivoted, and drove his blade directly into the creature's skull. The force of the strike pinned the beast to the floor. The lion shuddered, its form losing cohesion. The palace doors groaned as they gave way. A blinding white-hot glare flooded the hall, searing the air and threatening to burn his eyes. At the center, the king sat fused to a floating throne. Molten gold had sealed his face, locking his mouth in a silent, eternal scream. He watched the intruder with a single, unblinking eye, a desperate plea for an end. The knight took a step, then stumbled. His left leg dragged, heavy and stiff, already hardening into solid gold. He climbed the stairs, his movement sluggish as the curse climbed his spine. He reached the throne, but he did not strike the monarch. Death was a mercy the king no longer held. Instead, he swung his greatsword toward the red gem pulsating above the throne, the heart of the sage. He put every ounce of his remaining strength into the arc. The blade descended, a dark streak against the oppressive brilliance. It connected with a sharp, crystalline crack. The gem shattered, exploding into a cloud of crimson dust. The blinding glare vanished in an instant, plunging the hall into a sudden, jarring shadow. The palace walls disintegrated, cascading into a grey snow of dust. The golden streets followed, collapsing into barren ruins as the artificial world dissolved. The knight sat on the debris. The gold on his body flaked away, revealing the battered iron beneath. He pulled off his helmet, his face lined with exhaustion and age. He looked up. The sky was no longer a golden prison. A bright full moon climbed the horizon, casting a cool silver light over the wasteland. The wind whistled through the jagged stones, a low and mournful song for a kingdom that had finally ceased to be. Aurelia was gone. In its place, the world had reclaimed the silence of a dark, natural night. He watched the moonlight settle over the ruins, finding a quiet, hollow peace in the shadows.